Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. So, our show this week is sponsored by Henry Matisse, who says that creativity takes courage. Creativity takes courage. Okay, so we have a commission on the board today, and I just need a sheet of paper. But first, we're going to warm up and everything like that. So, pick ourselves our normal sheet of paper, and we'll head over to the May line. Alright, here we go. And someday I will actually get these things figured out. Okay, everybody, we're at the May line. For those of you who are following with me, those of you who are following with me, you know how this goes. We just go ahead and take our normal, oh my goodness, our normal L square. And what a beautiful, lovely snowy day outside. Lovely unless you have to drive in it. Okay, and put in our two lines. Hope everybody is safe out there, of course. And our target points. Here we go. And then we will take this, flip the page this way. These warm-ups, I've noticed, have gotten much more valuable as time has gone on. I've also noticed my child's notebooks are ending up in here. I don't know how that's happening. We'll do our funny little French curve lines. We'll do our funny little French curve lines by not, in fact, drawing on things like the edge of the French curve. Alright. And again, I'm just going to use a normal number 4. Right, this is our normal number 4. And start with the shorter lines. For those of you following at home, keep your elbows off the table and keep your wrist off the table as much as possible. We're going to try to draw a straight line. Drawing from the shoulder. Okay. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Point to point. When you leave a point, you want to look at the destination point. So we leave and look at the destination point. Same thing here. Leave and look at the destination point. And here. Okay. We'll do the long lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last week of October. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we'll do the hard ones for me. Following these curves. And really, I went the wrong way on this. We should pull. We should not. I learned that one in Japan. Everything they do is pulling. It's pulling this way or pulling towards the brush. And today is the 26th. There we go. Okay. We're done with our warm-ups. It's good because we've got a commission on the board today, so we're going to be working on that. So, all right. It feels like it's still kind of red over here. I don't know what the story is. All right. So let's go on ahead and let's bring up the monitor. Now, I already did an outline for this character, just kind of roughed it out so I could skip all that because that's really a boring part of the process. Takes hours and it's boring. So, the character we're doing this time is our Star Trek game's diplomat. So, first things first, let's clean the monitor because it's been a weekend, and even though I was actually on the monitor last night, even over one evening, it seems to gain a lot of dust. So, alright. If you guys have any comments, go on ahead and put them on in the area below. Just reply to the broadcast, and it shows up right here on my monitor, and I can respond to you. So, our character today is our diplomat. So I gave her more of a sort of like she's friendly in an open pose so that she looks more friendly. The person who wants this wants her to be in Deanna Troy's blue dress, except in purple. Which is fine. They put Troy in purple, too. She looks great already. Well, she does, except that she's just a sketch. So, wait for it. We got some time here. So, the blue dress, which I've brought up on this monitor behind me here. The blue dress, let's get ourselves a pencil for this. We're going to bring a pencil in, and we've got it set for blue. We got the brush, or the pencil size set too small. Blue dress comes down like this, and then it's back up, and it tilts to one side. This was actually homage to the original scants from Star Trek, the original series, which went the other direction, but they cut to one side. So, the purpose behind that cut to one side was to be an homage to the original series Star Trek. So, it cuts low, but not that low. And then we've got a communicator right here. Okay, so now that we've done that, we look again at this. It looks like we've got... It doesn't look like it's a very complicated dress specifically. The only major other complication on this dress is the belt area. We have sort of a piece of fabric that's like a belt. So, I haven't seen your pre-sketches. Right? The belt also kind of cuts across in an angle like this. And this is the same color as everything else. It's just going to be a cut so that we can see it. I feel like it goes even further to this side here. So the history behind a lot of Troy's uniforms is kind of entertaining. The original ones, of course, were designed by William Ware Tice, who designed the original series costumes. He was the original series costumer. And he stayed on the Next Gen for Season 1 and Season 2. And then he left, leaving Robert Blackman, who then went through and gave a lot of the revisions that we see in Troy's outfits. Because some of the things that he decided, and he actually calmed down her outfits a lot. She had some wild outfits in Season 1 and Season 2. So, Blackman And of course, that's typical. If you watch the original series, there's a whole bunch of really ridiculous outfits that they put the women in. But specifically the women, I mean, like some really weird stuff that I think had to be glued to them and things like that because it actually wouldn't stay on. There's that. So, but that's back to part of television at the time was to be as titillating as possible. And Tice came from that style of television, which is fine. But he retired from Star Trek, and he retired in season 3, and we got Blackman. And Blackman stayed with us for a very long time. One of the things Blackman did to the series was to add the Chinese collars, the Mandarin collars that everybody was wearing from post season 3. And it doesn't go all the way down, it only goes to about here. So we'll give it some tresses here. Tresses for the dresses. So, Blackman's designs I liked a whole lot better. And Blackman was one of the things that Blackman designed was this dress. Her blue dress. I like this design a whole lot better. Of course, my favorite part of the whole series was when oh come on, I just lost him. Jellicoe. When Captain Jellicoe said, everybody will be in uniform here, and that includes you. And the only reason that made me so happy was actually because Marina Sirtis did not like wearing a dress. She didn't like her spacesuit, but she liked the dress a lot less. It made her stand out, it made her feel like she wasn't part of the crew, etc., etc., etc. And I thought that was interesting. Marina Sirtis, so she was ecstatic when she finally got to put a normal Starfleet uniform on. And you know what? I always thought she was much, much more attractive when she was in uniform. But maybe I have a thing for girls in uniform. That might be a thing. Who knows? So there's that. And that. Put the boots on. Oh, God. And this has an extra border around it. Like that. You get a little bit of history. Star Trek history. I probably know way too much about Star Trek. That's my thought. Okay, so it does have sort of it's got pleating to some degree that comes in down here. And there's a lot more folds in it than it looks like on the... So I'm going to put more folds into this. Because there's a lot of pleating going on here. Do that. It actually seems to come in a little bit right here. So there we go. And I'll clean these pleats up when we go into inking. I just need to see where they are now. There we go. So this will be down more like this. And they're coming out from her knees and coming out and around like this. So we're just trying to put in the pleating so that it fits around her legs. Makes some sense that the cloth is falling and is draped. Did she wear? What was she wearing? So she had interesting shoes, which I don't think she particularly cared for either. I don't think that... Now, of course, your character D, I don't know why I'm calling you D, but I can't remember names. I know who I'm talking about. Don't lie to me. Because we play together and I'll figure out what your name is. One of the things about, everything I'm talking about here is just history that is part of the show. It doesn't have to be your character. Your character can do whatever she wants. And I feel like Deanna Troi, the character, liked her little dresses and things like that. I think the actress did not. So, it has nothing at all to do with the actress. Okay, let's talk about your hair. Now, you had sent me something that looks sort of like curly hair like this. Did you want it, really? Did you want it to be up like this? Or did you want it down like this? I get that it's voluminous, like a lot of hair. But I'm not sure whether you want her to have it up. Up is kind of cool. I don't think anybody's... I don't remember my... What was I making? I was making some comment the other day that, there was a phase that like all of us kids went through. We called our parents by their real name. And I had to skip that phase because I couldn't remember my dad's name or my mom's name. It's a face example. I can do faces like that. So, wait, no. So, it's okay. I'm not in any hurry. We're in blue lining. This is where we do the blue lines, and we can change them all day long. So there's no urgency here. So we're not in any hurry. I'll go on ahead and work on that face to give you time to tell me where we're going on that. Because this is a generic rough character, the half-shaved head. So like this side being shaved-ish, give or take. And then up and over like you have whenever we were playing the game. Because we can do that too. So, alrighty. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go in here. I'm looking at the eyes being... I love this face. Did you want this expression as well? Did you want that expression, or... Because I don't actually think she would have glasses, of course. Because I think, save Geordie, everybody is the half-shaved head, exactly. Okay. We'll get in here and we'll work on this in a minute and it'll be fine. Right now, I'm just setting up my design here. This is what I call my second layer of sketching, is in blue. And it helps me kind of remember where my red lines were on this. Because we've got a lot of, like, we want to make sure we get the clavicle in. And the neck is turned, so the tensioners across the neck have to be showing. So we're going to do some of this. And it's just some of the anatomy we want to put in to make sure that all this anatomy is correct. I do this show quite every day, and I know that people who are the fitting expression of, oh God, what did I just do? I can do that. We'll get there. We'll get there. It'll take some effort, but we'll get there. We want her to look panicked and not mad, so I'm going to raise her eyebrows up like this, because she's looking a little panicked and like, oh no, oh no, oh no. When people panic, you see the tops of their eyes more. So we're going to go on ahead and bring up that a little bit there. Which is funny, because now her hand looks more like I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, now she's looking more like, I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't what I was after. I promise, I didn't mean to do that. We'll just put in some hair on this side so that that's where we are right there on that one. So I'm feeling like we're getting closer here. I need to bring in that mouth though. Bring in the mouth just a little bit here. Meh. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Between you and Lupine, I need to do a new version of Lupine too, because she looks way too calm. Right? Like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not good. I'm really not good. You and Lupine are going to get along so well. Okay, this eye needs to be open more. So we're going to do that. We're going to really bring this eye open like this, because she's somewhat very much panicked at this point. So we're going to go in here with a pin so I can remember how we really want to open this eye up. That she's kind of panicked, more like this, right? There we go. And we'll clear this up over here. Right. Give this a little bit more of a squish to that side right there, like that. I think you did fine on your first session, though. I mean, to be honest. Okay. Maybe her eye's a little too open now. That's all right. We can go back and fix this. There we go. Let's bring the brush size down on this and get it out of vector mode. You aren't helping me here on vector mode if it's not. Part of our problem is the eyes aren't balanced. As I oft say, we have to get the anatomy straight. There we go. Like this. There we go. Well, relatable. Relatable content. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit more like we're getting closer here. It's going to be hard to see without, but that's, see, now I'm feeling like her eyes aren't bubbled. And that needs to be fixed. this eye is higher than the other eye. We don't want messed up anatomy. That won't help us any. There we go. At least the eyes are lined up now. We may have to do some work in this area once we get into the inking. We'll have to see. There we go. They really are. But they'll get there. The eyes are the window to the soul, so that's the one place we can't mess up. If we do, people are like, hey, there's something wrong with this picture. And they pick up on it right away. You can do perfect anatomy everywhere else, but if you mess up the eyes, boy. Okay. I'm just going ahead and do this. What we're doing here, she just kind of has a sort of expression going on with her hands, so we're just going to do that real quick. Alright, bring out those sleeves a little so that they don't fix those sleeves, and this hand's going to have to be done too. We got our thumb right here on the back. And she was trying to be cool in this pose, and then sort of at the very last minute sort of went, I don't know, what am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Which oddly, I did not feel like you were doing that bad in the game. I think it's funny that you felt like you were far more out of control than I did. I certainly didn't. Alright, now we're here. What do we think? Are we getting close to what we're looking for here before we go into ink? Curly. Second picture of the hair is to show volume and curl. Okay. I drew a curl in the real life. Volume and curl. So let's go back into here. Do you want long hair or do you want it to be short like this? Because Troy has like super wild, all over the place hair. It's everywhere. So let's go ahead and put in some more volume. A long, voluminous hair. Alright, and we'll go ahead and she's just got it all pulled to one side, but it still spills down all over the place. So, like this, we'll bring it out more. There we go. This is the time to do this. Mid-shoulder, so right about here. You got it. And we'll go on ahead. I'm just going to go on ahead and give some serious volume, and you tell me if we're going too far. Like this. Give ourselves some volume in here. Like this. Maybe even over the front of her shoulder, like this a little. I have a niece who has that super poofy hair, and it's very entertaining. Although, it does disturb her when people play with her hair, and I get that. So, I try only to mess with her hair when I'm intentionally trying to irritate her, as only uncles do to their nieces. Mostly when they're being a pest and being teenagery. Okay, now we're at this level of poof. We're looking good there? Good. Okay. There. Okay. How are we feeling about this? Are we getting better here? Are we close? I'm feeling like I kind of want to bring this leg back. It looks a little like I'd rather have her standing more like this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to move her leg back here so that so it's like she's got an S curve going for her body, which is really what we really kind of want to do. So we'll do this, and then we'll go there, and then we'll deselect. Right? It's part of the requirements. It's a requirement of. Although that said, we have a young lady who is being a young lady, so we have to be cognizant that we don't pester her too much, because we want to give autonomy and agency and teach that. So, there we go. So now I want to match this line coming in here like this. So because this is where her hip is, so we will follow the line and make sure we're coming out the bottom down here correctly. But that'll give us an S curve in the body. It makes her look like she's standing more elegantly as well. But it gives that nice action line. This is what we call an action line. So we've got this action line going through her body this way. And I'm going to raise her up a little bit. Now, this is where I do adjustments to all of my drawings, is at this point. We're going to just drop this down just a little bit, and all we're doing is just making it more dramatic. We're just adding some drama to the picture. Balance. B-A-L-A-N-C-E. Balance, Highlander. Okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to bring the dress down to this point here. And this gives drama to this. We're just stretching the S curve out. It comes down like this, comes forward, and it comes out right here. Makes the picture look more dramatic. We are artificially adjusting the lens of the camera for better or for worse, however you want to call that. But we, the viewer, when you do comic work or drawings or things like that, we sort of draw what doesn't exist. And so we're trying to, at this point here, we're just trying to make it look a little bit more dramatic than probably a real-life picture would look. We're going to some of these folds, make them straightened out. The dress is going to drive me crazy. I can already tell. So, I'm going to kind of go along here and give that a lilt to it, because we want that little whip. It just sort of helps. There we go. So you can get that flourish at the bottom that just flourishes out just a little bit. It's kind of like here. We kind of want this to flourish more so that we can show that S curve coming along here, especially since I moved this leg back. So we're going to come in here and then go back out again to give just a lilt, just like that. Okay. Now we are at a point where I feel like I'm about ready to go on ahead and ink it in. Does she need more chest? That's the next question. She has sort of an average sized chest. So if you want more chest, now's the time to put that into the works. Because I kind of feel like just the size of the body just a little bit, maybe just a little bit more here, like that. And that's just a little bit more. People are proportioned generally. So the larger chests pull more on the top of the body frame. It's funny how much this was giggle-worthy when I was a kid, and now it's not giggle-worthy at all. It's just hard work. So, I've been drawing since I was a teenager, and so yeah, that's what I was saying. I feel like just looking at her hips down here, she wasn't as large up at the top, giving more of an hourglass figure. It was more like a straight lamp sort of thing, which is fine. People are people. But I've often noticed that they balance top and bottom. So with a more hourglass figure, I'm going ahead and cut this down just a little bit there. We certainly don't want Playboy level of obnoxious, but a little bit of curve up there would help. There we go. I'm going to leave her shoulder up because she looks like she's a little tense, like sort of thing. We'll leave that going up like that. Alright, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this. I'm feeling like we're right about there. What do you think out there? Are we good? Do we think this is where we can start inking in? Because that's where we are. Alright. Then I'm going to give myself a new raster layer. And we're going to go ahead and switch to black. And get ourselves a nice pen. I usually still use the G pen for all of this. I'm going to raise it up to 12 point. We're going to start in. Start in always with the eyes because this is where it's going to take the most work and where everybody looks. So, we get very close here. And we'll just start gently putting in the eyes. Okay, we'll come up and over like that. Too much there. There we go. That's a good question. What do we want to do for her shoes? That's an excellent question. So, we'll get to the shoes here in a minute, but these lips remind me a lot of Lucille Ball, which my mom could do this look so perfectly. This. She could do it so well. And I love that. So, it's always funny that this expression kind of reminds me of my mom in its own way. which is a good thing. My mom was a character and a quarter, and so she was an interesting person, a very interesting person. Let's give her ears in here. There we go. Bring this down. There we go, like that. Alrighty, bring this in through here. We'll give her her collarbone and then out along the collarbones themselves. And we'll get to shoes. Do you have a specific shoe in mind? If it's a boot, I need to know. So if you want a boot of some sort, we'll need to know that by the time we get to the bottom of the dress, because the dress might be affected by boots. But if it's just shoes and she's wearing the socks like Troy was wearing, the stockings, the very tall stockings, then we can do that. You were in morning, yes. I feel like I've bowed out her nose. That's not what we were after. Like that. And we'll come back around and just trim this down. But I've got to lift this side of the nose up, because when you lift that, the depressor right here, this entire structure, this muscle structure group on the front of your face, it pulls up and pushes around, and so you end up with kind of that kind of weird going on. So there we go. And we'll come around here like this, and then we'll go on like that. Ah, they're calling to see if I'm voting for somebody. Again, this happens a lot. It's an ongoing gag now for my show. I don't know who thinks that 10:45 on a weekday is a good day to call to ask who I'm voting for. But they are. Good news is we're going to turn our ballots in pretty soon here, and then that'll stop that. Gesundheit, George. I hear you, but I don't see you. Well, I heard you sneeze anyway. I'll give her her other ear right through here, but we're only going to see part of it right through here. Boots, small heel, and knee length, 2 shades darker than the dress. You got it, Chief. We can do that. Curls in here like that. So if we were to look at this without it, this is where we are so far. She looks pretty cool. I'm digging her. And again, we'll put in the Blackman collar. Communicator. we're just going to go through here. We're just cleaning up the communicator on the outside. There we go. The communicators in Next Gen actually pulled up above this, the outside gold piece like that. So I want to make sure we've got that kind of going for us here. There we go. So we're coming back around. Aw, man. Don't be a pest. Communicators we have to do right, because everybody looks at the communicator and says, oh, you did it wrong. So the communicators have to be accurate and correct. Otherwise, it's almost like the eyes. You can totally tell you did the communicator wrong. And it becomes one of those, man, and it will drive me bonkers. I hate it when people screw up the communicators. They have a lip on the outside, so we're going to implicate that lip like this. That's where George is. So, George is our kitten, and he is into, for reasons that are beyond me, the sliding door in our bathroom. We have a pocket door for our bathroom. And that, for those who are not familiar with what pocket doors are, it's a door that slides into the wall so that it doesn't actually swing open and doesn't get in the way of anything. It just slides into the wall. And he absolutely adores the pocket door. He thinks it's the coolest thing that has ever happened, and he attacks the pocket door. And this is the vicious kitten who is attacking the pocket door and protecting us from the evils of pocket doors everywhere. And this is something you didn't know, were that pocket doors were apparently evil. I didn't know that until I had a kitten, and now the kitten thinks that the pocket doors are evil. So there's that. We have pocket door attacks. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back to that, because we're not going well there. Okay, coming down here. Yeah, there we go, like this. Like that. I have to come back on that one, but that's alright. Now with this, once we get to inking, as a manga style artist, I tend to be very conscientious about how I let the ink flow from the pen. As much as possible to have one line coming through there. We get into tight areas like this, I want to kind of go back through the line and just make sure that it all makes logical sense. Like this does not make logical sense. I don't know what happened here. There we go. I'll just clean that up. Now it makes a lot more sense. Evil heating pads. Heating pads can be evil as well. Absolutely. It's a good thing you have those cats. I mean, think about what would happen if you didn't have those cats to protect you from the evil heating pads. And pocket doors. Okay, so I'm going to give weight to the bottom of the lines, which makes it look much more I think my cat just killed himself by accident. That's why my kid's giggling. It's because he's done something silly. He didn't actually kill himself. That wasn't permission. I'm still broadcasting. Okay. Yeah, well, see, that didn't last long. He thought it was hysterical right up until he did something to his room, and then it wasn't as funny anymore. That's a thing. Okay. Now, the thick line that we're putting down right through here gives weight to the back of the... Okay, hang on real quick, guys. Sorry. All right. Now, are you going to help me out here? You stop that, you pest. All right. So, George will now help me. Yeah, you've seen me do this before. There we go. So we're gonna... I don't know why you find this so fascinating. Matt? What was that? You're a goober. Yep, this is George. George sometimes co-hosts my show. George is a polydactyl. He has an extra toe, which I think is really cool. George is also a very small floof and a pest. You're a pest, is what you are. You're a floof. You're a floofy pest. And so, yep, George, I feel like George is what this shirt is trying to say here. Or at least he thinks he is. So, the shirt says, "If you can see me, I failed my stealth check." That's George. Because George does this a lot. So you've got another fan on there. Another fan. Here we go. I love this shirt though. And not only that, I could order whatever color I wanted, which I thought was so cool. This is one of those like T-Fury shirts or something like that where, you know, it just comes up for a second and then you've got however long to buy it. And this shirt was like perfect. I was like, that's a little black cat just like George. And he's like trying to be stealthy just like George, who fails just like George. And I think that was so hysterical. So I had to buy it, and then I could get it in lime green because I really like loud colors. I know it's such a cliche for us artists to be into loud colors, but we're into loud colors. Almost all of us are. That's not true. I have known a lot of artists who are very mild into mild colors. But earth tones and I just don't get along very well. It's too boring. Winter is a dull and dark month for me. All 12 of them. Okay, we're going to make this curve come out like that. Like, you can see how we're kind of bringing that curve around. We're going to do the same thing right through here and come back. We're coming up on the mid-show stretch. It's like the 7th inning stretch. I'm going to bring these out like this. There we go. pleats out like this. There, just like that. Okay, so we got boots. We're at boots. What are we doing for boots? So you were saying... So the original dress that Troy is wearing... I'll bring this over here. In the original dress, she's got just some kind of heels going for her. But I agree, that's not necessarily what we're after on this one. I mean, like, my goodness, this one looks like she's got high heels. I don't even think that was what she was. She was not wearing stilettos. I'm just saying. And you're not wearing a scant. Yeah, see, those are good. Not exactly bright. No, I'm absolutely not subtle. There is just zero subtle on in my world. So, okay. So what we're going to do here, you want to go in for boots. I mean, it could be more like she could be wearing standard Starfleet issue boots. Which, despite the fact that this is a party city thing, but it could be boots like those. No, I do not want you to know my location. Thank you, though. I mean, it could be something very similar to those. What do you think? So, like a square toe with a small amount of heel up to about almost the knee, but not quite. We could do that. What do we think? This gives you a second here while I drink some coffee. Because there is a delay. Oh, do we have to do this again? Okay, here we go. That works. You got it, Chief. We can do that too. Alright, let's pull you out of the way. Out of this loop. Cool. So, we'll go ahead and do that. I want to go back down to my drawing layer, though, real quick here, and just sketch it out so I can make sure I've got them. Because they're square-toed. And we want to give it just enough heel that it doesn't look like a flat, because it's not. I feel like when I use the pen to do underdrawing, I feel like I'm sculpting. It's so weird. It's much better to use the pencil on this, but there we go. We'll come back around like this. Now the toe is going to be tilted the other direction. Okay, so that's the break warning right there. I'm going to take this out too. Take that out right there. We'll flatten this around. I knew what you meant. We're good. So this is where the heel of that boot's going to be, right through there. And come up and around like this. Okay. Hit save. Now, for those of you who know how this goes, it's the mid-show break. Everybody should stand up and stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. Always stretch. Just pop my back to it. And then we shake out the hands. My wife has not actually seen the show in a long time, so she doesn't even know what I'm talking about. She's like, "What are you doing?"
I'm also enjoying your shirt.
I love this shirt. It is so totally George. This is George. It's not even. What was even funnier was a minute ago, he was underneath underneath that thing there, and he was doing this. He was like, "I have a stealth check," and I'm like, "I hate to say this, but you got like a -10 on your stealth check." Gee. There's nothing you can do. Okay, I'm going to go over here like we do every day. Look outside. Remember that it's a wonderful day. It actually is. The sun's shining, and even though there's a ton of snow, it's not a bad day. Looks like the roads are clearing. So when you go out later on, dear, looks like you might actually stay on the road.
I don't have to.
Oh, good. That's even better. Oh, man. Okay. Hi to wife, says Hastings. Hastings with an S. This is the newest player in our Star Trek Adventures game. She says hi. She plays our diplomat, who has a very Lucy-esque facial expression. It's awesome. All right. Now we'll get back down to here. Bring this out a little bit more. There we go. All right. There you go. There. Eeks. There we go. So, now I'm going to go back up to my ink layer, and we'll come back and ink those boots in. Alright, and that boot's in. Have to make sure everything is sealed up so that we don't have some horrible accident when we try to fill these things in a minute. We're going to be coming in here with color in just a second, so there we go. Alright, now we'll take out the blue line. Let's take a look at our ink and see where we are. Because like we've got a hole here, I'm going to have to fix that. Otherwise this will leak out. We should be making that a little bit heavier anyway. And we're back to work. Which is funny because I'm already back to work. There we go. Clear all these lines up. Things like this where they're just errors in the line and we need to clean that up. Alright. No. No. Okay. There we go. Now, do we feel like we are doing good here? Do we feel like we need to make any changes? Yeah. Get kind of things going on here. I'm going to go back and put a little bit heavier on the upper eye on this side. She's got some pretty high makeup quality here, but not right there. Nope. Too much. There we go. Want those eyes to balance. There we go. All right. So here is the next stopping point if you want to make any changes before we go into color. So, and I'm just going to fidget until until I get an okay that says that it's okay to go on the color. Although you may be busy doing other things, it's not like, you don't have a life or something like that, so it's totally okay if you don't get back to me right away. So I'm just going to go on ahead and so what I'm doing here is I'm putting, I know that I'm going to be coming in here with a fill. She looks good. Okay, good. I'm going to be coming in here with a fill. Look at that. That's going to leak. So let's just make sure that this doesn't have the capability of leaking right here. Alrighty. So, let's go ahead and look at some of the things that you had sent. Her skin tone, I'm guessing you're of the opinion that her skin tone is just kind of us skin tone-ish. She's a Betazoid, correct? So, being a Betazoid, her eyes are going to be easy. It's interesting how much eyes control the effect of things. So, here's the first thing we do before we do this. We duplicate this layer because we want to make sure we don't lose our original thing. So we've got a duplicate layer of the ink underneath here. So we'll go ahead and swing to the brown over here and get a very deep, deep brown. And we'll start there, right? Betazoids have very dark, dark brown eyes. So we'll go up here to the skin tones and we'll just kind of see if that looks good. That looks pretty okay, but I think I might want a little bit less yellow. So we'll go over here. There we go. And we'll come back in and fix that in a second. There we go. We'll have to clean that little bit up there in a second, but that's okay. Now, you had asked for a specific shade of purple, and her hair is going to be an interesting but fun thing. Trust me when I say I'm going to have fun with this. You'd asked for a specific shade of purple, so we're going to be trying to hit that. We'll swing to this side, and I'm thinking something maybe a little darker than that. Plausibly. Let's see. Let's see if that looks about right. It's more of a wine. So I'm going to go over here. I feel like that's maybe too blue. So we're going to try a little bit more towards the red. Richer. Like that. More like a wine. Right? That looks about right. I like that. Okay. And we're going to take and go just a little bit darker for the trim and her boots. Like that. We'll actually use that same color to get inside the cuff of her sleeve. And now we're going to do the trick. Let's see if we can pull off this trick. I'm going to go in here. There's a lot going on here. There we go. I'm going to use the gradient tool and go foreground to background. And we're going to do this. There we go. Right? And I'm going to actually try to take a little bit lighter on this so that it's more visible down here. Like that. Right? So we're going to take a look at that and see whether we like that or not. Okay. So that's where we are standing at this point with base colors. Right. So kind of going along like that. And that's what we've got kind of going there. Don't worry, I'll give her some shine in that hair, but I want to see if that's where you're looking for a nice gradient fill on that. And let's talk a little bit about the fact that this did not actually really. What color are you headed for? There we go. We'll do that. All right. So, next step is, let's go and swing to the blue. Get really close to white. And we'll get in here close and we'll do these eyes. The scalea of eyes are not actually white. They're a light blue. So, sclera, that's what it is. It's sclera. Scalia was a Chief Justice. I don't know what my problem is. We're going to go in there and we're just making that work. Top of the hair is dark brown. I can do that. We'll go up here and hit select and shift, add. And I'm just adding in all of the pieces. I really should add that guy too. You need to be added. And we'll go here. I'm going to do a dark brown then. So we're going to come over here and swing to the red, do the orange. There we go, to a rich dark brown. And then we'll go for a lighter purple. Actually, I can just go ahead and hit that purple right there. Okay. Now that we've captured everything, we're going to then just take our gradient tool or our color layer. We're going to see what we can do. Nope, other direction. There we go. Like that. Okay. There we go. Now we're there with this point here. And if we all are happy, we need two things. One, this guy. Communicators in this era are gold on the outside and silver on the inside, so silver is represented usually by blue, a light blue, almost a gray blue, like that, and that communicator is now complete. I go through here and do this. Get some of these little white divots that I need to get rid of. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing out here. We're going to clean that up right there, and right there I can see these white little whatevers. This is what we call flatting, and it's now completely flat on the character. When we've completed the flatting here, then we'll go on ahead and do shading, and we'll be done with this character. It takes about 2 hours to do these characters, so do a lot of like little fixes here and just make sure everything is make sure everything is cleaned up. Really having issues all of a sudden. There we go. I don't think my child can be quiet. I don't think that's in his nature. Alright. Make sure we get just a little of this, there's kind of this, any of these little white things that are just errors in the fill. I'll go back and check and clean. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's totally possible to get the purple to go as far as we want. Work. And we will work, 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 like that. So, that brown is still brown. The purple just needs to be lighter. I'm going to hit that point right there. And then let's get closer. Shall we? Let me take a look here. And then we'll make this go like there. Do you want it up there? We can go a little further, like to there if you want it. It's kind of hard to see it with the ants dancing around, and I get that. I'm actually going to try a little brighter. Like that. Like that. What do we think? Good? So, here's to hoping that looks good. I like this, so. I think what I'm going to do, though, is just so we can do this anytime we want, I'm going to lay down what I call, see, because I can already see I missed part of it right here. So, we're going to grab that part right there and bring it up and do this. And now we can turn that off and deselect this if we need to. And now I can go back to work elsewhere, and if you really want me to come back in and fix more of this, we can. Because now I've got a mask for it, and that's what this is called, just a mask. It's just a color mask. Alright, so, perfect. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go on ahead and add a new raster layer, and this will be our shading for this. I used to use black just straight up, but I have recently been sort of brought to the world of using a dark purple for offset shading, and it looks much better, I feel. I'm going to set this then for a multiply layer, bring it down to about 33%, right about there, right? And then we just bring in, and we can come in here, and now we can just put in shading. Right, and this gives us a little bit of, and we'll come back and fix it in a second, but for right now, this allows us to put in the shading on this, and it'll do that, and we'll go through here, and like this whole area is all shaded, right, and then we got through here, like this, and we come back around like that, and then through here. And the best part about this is that it still works on like her uniform and stuff like that, so we can go through here. And this just gives depth to the standee. We need to actually not be doing that. Not here. Like that. That's what we need. There we go. Perfect. Then I will leave the hair as it stands. But we will put some shading in. Kind of give it some body and some depth as well. Right? Just like this. And come in here and like this. And I actually, at first when I thought purple, why in the world would we use purple? But now I can see what they were talking about, and I agree. Purple looks so much more natural and more like it's a real thing. just come along here, and all we're doing is just defining zones here. Alright, we'll do that. Go on here a little bit, or right through here. We're just defining areas that are darker. Right, like right along the outside edge of things. Specifically the just like that, and then right through here like this, and all of her thumb is probably in shade. Right, we'll go like that, and then we're just going to go along the bottom of this belt and then come down like so. There we go. Give that some shade right through here. We're throwing shade, man. Throwing shade. And then come down like this. Okay. I'm going through here, and I'm just putting in the pleats, like all of the shading in the pleats, right through this area here. This will help make this define. These pleats will start to really define out. There we go, just like that. There. And now we've given her depth. She looks like she's got some depth to her. We'll go ahead and go through here, and that's an eraser. That's not what I want. I want this like that, going up like so. There. So now she's got all that going for her. We're going to do the other side now. So we'll add a new raster layer, and instead we're going to just go the opposite. We're going to go over here to a very, very light purple, and when you do the other side, we go to a red. So we're going to do like this color right here, and this will give us just the highlights. We're going the wrong direction because it's not normal. We need to do overlay. Okay. So it's blue on one side and it's red on the other. We'll give her, we need more than that. More like this. There we go, just like this. I'll come along here and then we can give highlights to her hair. Right, because this is where you'll get the highlights out here on the hair. There we go. Now she's looking more like a person. Look at that. We put highlights along the neck, right there. And just a little bit of a highlight right here, and not a lot. Then we'll come along here to the outside of the uniform, and give that some highlight. And I try to do this like it's a hair light, so it's a rim light on the outside. And that's more what I like to do for the lighting. It makes it look more dynamic and more dramatic. So, yep, and we're implying all of the shape of the character with this rim light, which gives us a lot more. I went too far over, but I can go back and always clear that up like that. This rim light gives a lot more on the outer shape right here. And the pleats will take the rim light right through here and through here. That's way too much, but I'll come back and trim it down. And this pleat will take it. But this pleat's already in the shadow, so it's not going to take it. Although I think, no, actually I feel like it might get a little bit right here. Just like that. And we'll come back and clean that up. Right through there. And we'll clean this guy up right there. And then we'll go down here on the boots. And the boot's going to take a lot of light to there, and then to right there, and that's about it. And this boot will take a little bit on this side right here, but it didn't actually get any of the dark on the other side, which is kind of sad. So let's go back in and hit that dark down here on the dark purple, down a layer below it, because we really kind of want to go on ahead and emphasize this. We need more than that. There we go, like this. There we go. We'll go over here on this side and we'll do the same thing. And these boots are dark, so it's going to be hard to see, but it'll feel right. And I keep kind of talking a little bit about feel. Sometimes the detail is so small, but we still feel it. We know we did something there. All right. Now we have a rim light going along one side. It lights up part of her. I actually feel like it might even go in there. Just a hair. So let's see. Because I think it'll be just past here, right? No, that one. There we go. Just past here. Coming through the arm, the crook in her arm right there. Okay. Just enough to make it look like we've got just that, right? Just a hair of light coming from behind her now. There we go. One last thing and we'll be ready to go. I'll put in a new layer, and this is pure white. So the pure white is for things that shine, right? For example, I'm going to go in here. We're going to put in a pure white, and it's, no, I want this to be on top of there. There we go. The lights that are invariably in this. And she might have just a little bit of shine on her nose, right? And then the communicator is going to have to take some pure white because it does sparkle. So we'll take some pure white on the communicator. Nothing else really needs pure white except for her boots, which will have a shine to them. Because Starfleet is still military, and I'm sure she spends some quality time shining her boots. There we go, guys. I think we've got this going here. I feel like that's a pretty solid character. Let's go ahead and look at a background for her. Ooh, we forgot to do her teeth. We forgot to do her teeth. On Thursday's show, we were doing Dragon dental work. Now we're going to be doing Beta's dental work. All we need to do here is just go in here and tap that like that. We're good. I'm also noticing back here there's some missing pieces, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and that'll clear that up. And go in here and just tackle this. And we didn't decide whether diplomacy was hang on, quick, this is an important thing to do. Pork, like that. We didn't decide whether diplomacy would have worn a blue uniform or a red uniform or not. So we haven't quite gotten to the stage of what color should be her background. I feel like it should be blue. That's my personal thought, is that we should use the blue background for the standee to sort of make, because I think that diplomacy is in blue, but it could be red. What is your call on this one, V? Do you think that she should, if she were to wear a normal uniform, would she be wearing blue or red? I'm on the fence. I think she could be wearing red. I think she could be wearing blue. As far as the standee goes, I feel kind of like the blue looks better than red. Red would just be red with a lot of red. The blue kind of cools down the standee. So that's my opinion on the matter. I don't know whether that's what you think as well. Give you a moment here. I think she does too. I feel like this is more of a science. Diplomacy is more of a science thing. So I think she will work better in blue. So we'll leave her in the blue on the standee. Whoa, we've come way too far away. Where are you? I have to find you. That's a Star Trek joke. When is it not a Star Trek joke? All right. So there you go, my friend. I think we are ready to go. If there's any last minute changes, now is the time to bring that in. She looks sort of chagrined, appropriately chagrined. So, if there's anything else we want to change or alter, we could still do so at this point. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then we will work on this point forward. It's saving now. I like how it has to freak out. Yeah, I feel like that's probably a fair argument. So, perfect. Then I'll go on ahead and add, she's a commander, full commander, correct? I think we are at, she's got 3 pips. So I'll go on ahead and add that down here. Using Photoshop or using a Clip Studio for text is always a pain. So this standee, by the way, once you get it, you can print it just like it is, and this part right here and this part fold to make a trifold, and then you can tape it to the back and then just stand it up. And we often do that when we're playing the game. It's not as big of a deal because she looks very similar to you, but some of us, and I won't name any names, me, crossplay. And so I'm playing Tessara, who is female, and that often confuses people. So I like to put my standee in front. That's actually why I put standees out there, is because that way they know to say her and use the correct pronouns and talk about Tessara as Tessara because she's her own entity. So, and this is actually one of those funny things when my wife and I often play, because my wife is like 50-50 on cross-playing, and so she will often play men and I'll play women, and we get this like confusion going on for our GM, because our GM will look at us like, wait. They get very confused. So I tend to make standees for all of my characters so that everybody always knows, and it's fine. So, not as big of a deal, but this guy can be printed out, and you can fold the flaps behind, and then tape it, and then sit it on the table, and everybody can go, oh, that's what she looks like. It also helps because your character isn't in standard uniform, like Deanna Troi is. So, like Deanna Troi is not in standard uniform too, and so it's kind of cool to kind of visualize that, because I've got to admit, when we were playing our game yesterday, I visualized the character correctly to some degree, but I saw her in a uniform, and so this will help sort of encourage me not to see her in a uniform, but to see her in this side dress sort of thing. You had said scant, and I was like, I don't feel like she's in the scant. You didn't say scant, it was Joe who said that she was in a scant. And I don't think she's in a scant. She doesn't seem like a scant sort of person. Luna's character is generally in a scant. And so that works. Okay, well, we have wrapped this up. For tomorrow's show, we'll be working on the Kittiwake, which is this critter right here. The Kittiwake needs a map, and I've been working on her for a while, and so we're going to be working on the Kittiwake's maps, and that's where we are for tomorrow's show. So there we go. That's our show for tomorrow. Just not for that's totally what I felt like too. Luna's character seemed to want to go with the scant, so that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. They did establish in Star Trek Next Gen that men or women could wear the scant, depending, and so I've always thought it'd be fun to put one of the male characters in a scant, because that'd be rather entertaining. Because I'm easily entertained. And the truth is, I always thought if you were like of Scottish heritage, maybe you would decide that the scant was an appropriate dress. Because that seemed like a thing. So, and the scant is cool. It's got a cool cut to it. It's all black on both sides. And that's a neat thing with the color straight down the front of the skirt, which I think is cool. So, I always felt like that would be a neat dress, like mess dress, like dress uniform. So, cool. Okay, guys, what will happen next, V, is I will message you, and when I send this, I'll send PayPal information, and all of that will be straight up, and we will go ahead and roll it out. Was it your last name? Yes. Will you do me a favor? Will you please send me in private message, just PM me your character's name the way it's supposed to be spelled, so that I can spell it correctly, because it really would be irritating if I went through all of this and then misspelled your last name. You'd want to shoot me the next game, so I would be... You'd hate it. I don't think he can be quiet. I don't think he can. I just really don't, I think. Oh, your family. You're talking about you yourself. Yes, actually, I'm Scottish as well. Clan Stewart. So, I just... every time I wear a kilt, the only kilts... obviously, Clan Stewart being, like, the clan, means that all of my plaids are... Think of plaid. That's my plaid. And I'm like... So, it's like me... So, sometimes, like, the kilt that I generally wear is Scottish Pride. So it's purple and blue, and at least it's got like some derivative of color. But the one that I really do like from the Stuart is they've got a hunting plaid, and the hunting plaid is a white with blue, and I think that would look way awesome with the Starfleet upper jacket, like the one from First Contact. So that's kind of, even though we have to have this discussion because my wife actually hates that particular uniform, so she wants me to do the kilt with the Monster Maroon from the movies, and I've been thinking that'd be pretty cool too, but the Monster Maroons are expensive, so there's that. Of course, with the Monster Maroon, being that that's red, and red and black, I probably would go with my normal Stuart plaid, because that's red mostly, so that would fit better. But I really do think that the more I think about it, the hunting plaid, the white with the blue, would look so cool with the First Contact dress uniforms, the ones that were white with the inset that's gray for non-command officers. I think that'd be so cool. I'm just saying. Anyway, it's a thought. But yeah, that's a thing, is that most definitely is certainly an operational thing there. So I have 2 dress uniforms that I can wear, because I can also wear all of my Japanese uniform that I wear whenever I'm at Kyudo, because it's got a proper kimono for shooting. So anyway, okay guys, well, we're going to break 15 minutes early so I can go to lunch with my wife and my kid, who are both on the day off because snow. So they got the day off because Jefferson County went down and Denver went down, so they're all like, everybody's like, no, you all stay home, which is cool. We got a snow day. But because of that, and the fact that we are complete on this commission, I'm going to go ahead and break 15 minutes early and go get lunch. So I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, like I said, the topic tomorrow will probably be the kitty wake. So we need to skin the model, which goes the opposite direction of when you skin an animal. So that's kind of weird. So anyway, thank you all for joining me today, and thank you for being here with me, V. I appreciate that. For everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.